And then had some minor technical difficulties, but we are back, locked and loaded, excited about life. I was telling some good stories too, man. You guys missed some good stuff, but I want to thank everybody who had the opportunity to listen to all our previous broadcasts, who listened to our current broadcast, and for those who are just tuning in for the first time. Appreciate you. What's good, you guys? Apologies about the delay. Tapping in from the nap. What's up, CJ, man? Appreciate that. My cryptocurrency partner, man. If you ain't on crypto by now, stop playing, man. I remember when Bitcoin was 10 grand. So I'm gonna just tell you that. I remember when it was 4. Mm-mm-mm. So yeah, man, back to my story. So I'm big on brands. You guys can see me sporting my brands all the time, man. Anytime you can wear your brand, period. I don't care what anybody says, sport your brand wherever you go. But yeah, I was telling a story because I was looking at Jollibee's. This is Jollibee's. It's a Filipino fried chicken restaurant out here. And this is the way I think. I go into places and I say, what do they have? And I look at it. I say, okay, so, because a lot of times we're intimidated, right? And we're looking for people's magic sauce. We're like, oh, they got the magic sauce. So we buy their books. We do all this stuff. We come to their lives. Like, just kidding. But you understand what I'm saying? We're always looking for that magic sauce. And I go to all these restaurants and I'm looking around and I'm like, where's this magic sauce? You got a fryer, you got a thing, you got this, you got that. And I'm looking at Jollibee's and I'm like, okay, so they're a brand. And my whole point is, when you look at like brands, right? You're like, okay, so how can I build mine? We just got to look at what pieces they have, right? You got to look at what pieces they have, do a little research, perhaps even I got to the point where I'm like, man, I should go work at one of these chicken restaurants on like Sundays. Just when it's like really busy, just go work and just look at their operation, right? Because they don't know what I'm doing. They're like, oh man, this dude got a master's degree. What are you doing here? But whatever. I'm doing what do they call it? Recon? Right? I'm learning. And every time I go to one of these places, all I'm doing is looking at the kitchen. They're probably looking like, oh, you trying to be nosy looking at our cooks. No, I'm looking at your processes, dog. I'm looking at your processes. That's it. I'm looking at how you're doing business. I'm looking at how many people you have in here. I'm looking at what time of day it is. I'm looking at how many products do they have on this damn menu. Right? I'm looking at all that. I'm analyzing everything. And I came to the conclusion, man, it doesn't matter what the food is, there's an audience for everything. And my relative was on earlier. I don't know if he's still on right now. But I remember I got a story from Drada 92. Ask him. He tell you the day and who everybody was, man. We couldn't find any work. Any work, LA, you name it, we couldn't find anything. So this is like right 92, not going into 93. It wasn't even 93 yet. It was 92 still. It was raining. We was in these apartments, Pebble Beach apartments. Man, we was still, I think I was in the 10th grade or something like that. But we was in our spot chilling. So we couldn't find any work. And then we ended up going to Compton and find some work with one of the homies. And and we got it back, and it was like back then you could tell it was like B12, so it was like wax. Literally looked like wax. Like, man, we can't get this off, man. People was complaining. Oh, homie, y'all selling boo boo, boo boo, boo boo, boo. Like, man, we can't get this off, man. That was our last little bit of money. So when it does come back around, we can't get it. Man, we had one client. I know you remember, Tanisha. We had one client that bought all of it, every stone. He said, that's why he said, I'm here for true story. He already know. He already know. It bought every crumb and wanted more of that when we got some regular. You know what I'm saying? Wanted more of that. And I came to the conclusion then, and I tell people all the time, there's a market for every product. There's a customer for every product. So even if you think your product's whack, you think you can't compete with other people, put it out there anyway. You know what I'm saying? Put it out there anyways. You'll find out, like, man, I can compete with the big dogs. And that's when I'm looking at Jollibee's. Jollibee's and they setting up and people raving over there. Another place, what was that? Canes with the chicken fingers. People lined up for that. This breaded chicken breast, but they build a brand, and that's the key right there, and that's the difference. So when you get discouraged and think like, man, I can't compete, think about building a brand, and don't think about building on like a large scale. Did nobody all start off large? There's this guy who got a put. What's his name? I think I talked to you guys about him last time. The Pudding Man. He started off with one. I saw his first Instagram post with pudding. He was like, man, try my pudding. 6 years of grinding. Moved up to he was doing events. Then he got him a little truck. Then boom, 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 and the steps. And then 6 years later, this cat got his own restaurant right around the corner. That's a thing of beauty, right? When you see those things from raw from the hustle, all he did was believe in his pudding. That was it. All I got to do is believe in my product. I don't care what anybody else thinks. Like myself, I got to believe in myself. That's it. If I believe in myself, I'll be fine. The universe will take care of everything else. The challenge is, how do you believe in yourself when you're competing up against some really major competitors? I had to feel for that. I had just last week. I'm in a conference with a bunch of really, really smart people who either have PhDs or should have PhDs, right? And here I am out the streets. My grammar's not, English isn't proper. My grades aren't stellar. They're the best I could do with what I had. And here I am in the same conference with these cats. And it's intimidating. I don't even know what questions to ask. And I'm 44, homie. But you could go up in some stuff and feel like, man, I'm out of my league completely, right? This is totally out of my league. But you go in there and you figure it out anyway. And you say, you know what? All I need to do is find my missing pieces. That's it. I'm already here with these cats. Only thing I need to do is figure out what I don't know. That's it. Figure out what I don't know. Well, okay, you need to do this. And I figured it out. Okay. You want to get into these type of programs, you want to go to USCs, the UCLAs, you want to compete like that, you're going to have to get this. And how are you going to do that? You're going to have to start with the basics, right? Because they got a standardized test that helps you get into these programs. And that test is based on 7th through 10th grade math. 7th through 10th grade is when I was popping the hardest, homie. I got in the game at think like the 6th grade. So from the 7th to the 10th, I'm full throttle. I'm giving all my attention to work, like none to school. So that's where my missing pieces were. I didn't do geometry. I didn't do any of that stuff. What up, Kenneth? I can't call it. And I got missing. Those are my missing pieces. My vocabulary is not proper because I didn't do English. I can write papers. Can I speak? Do I know sentence structure? So these things, you know, I one thing you start to know is the more you know, the more you realize that you don't know. You feel what I'm saying? So you go out there and you like, man, I gotta go. I gotta go back to the math. And I gotta start at geometry, 7th, 8th grade geometry, homie. It's humbling. It is humbling, but these are my missing pieces because these are things that can crumble my foundation if I get exposed. You dig? If I get exposed with these basic things, and they could be basic, that's the beauty in it. They're not difficult things to accomplish. You feel me? They're not hard. You just got to go back. And the internet, privacy, all this stuff. So you ain't got to, I got to go back to school. I got to be the big giant kid. And no. You got to download Khan Academy. You feel what I'm saying? What up, Samuel? You got to download Khan Academy and start progressing. That's what I started with geometry. Then I'm going next. I think, to linear algebra. Then I'm going to trigonometry. Then I'm going to stats. Then I'm going, and I might end at calculus. And I'm getting ready to bust my ass for a year straight when I'm sitting in the lobby, when I'm sitting downstairs chilling, when I'm sitting there bored or whatever, I pop out my phone, me and Khan Academy get it popping, and I take tests and I'm going through lessons and I'm doing the whole 9 because I understand what pieces I'm missing. You right? Soft skills. When I came home, when I was in the pen, soft skills don't fly. Right? Speaking of, I mean, there's respectful cats, and don't get me wrong, everything's about respect. But in terms of how handling yourself in the office environment, that's a huge jump. Right. So we're not all versed in that space to where we know how to go ahead and switch it up. And I know how to talk in an office. Most of us are raised in the streets. So our language is based on the streets. Our reactions are based on the streets. Our aspirations are based on the streets. It all depends, right? Our environment dictates that. But hopefully at some point in time, you realize what you're missing. What am I missing? Because you'll constantly bump your head. You'll be like, man, what am I doing wrong? Like even on the business tip, there's something I'm missing on that. So I'm not just talking about in terms of my professional, endeavors. I'm talking about my business endeavors too. I could be better at business. I'm trying to figure this out. How can I be better at this, right? If we get a spot, how much do I need to commit to it? How much do I trust employees? So I got issues on both sides, and I'm trying to fill the missing pieces. The only way and the best way that I know how to fill the missing pieces are admit that they're missing first. One of the biggest and most difficult things for people to do, especially us who come from that game, right, where we've controlled our own destiny, is admit to what we don't know. Vulnerable, right? Will Smith, I'm reading Will Smith. You talking about vulnerable, yo? Man, he puts it out there. But these are things that he doesn't have to hide anymore, right? These are things he doesn't have to bury anymore. So just knowing that about us, there's some things that we probably should know that we don't know. Man, I don't know what that means. The beauty in it, the best part of this life that we're in right now is that you can look it up. I've told you guys, man, we don't wonder anymore. We don't, I think, I don't know. Nah, we're beyond that. We're Googling stuff. We got it on our phones. We're looking it up immediately. I don't know what that means. I've been reading academic papers for 2-3 weeks straight. You talking about heavy language? Man, elevated. Got to pop my dictionary out on my phone every paragraph. It's humbling. And you realize I got to fill my missing pieces. My grammar's not up to par. I don't know enough words. When people cuss, that means their vocabulary is not extensive. With the exception of comedians, they're usually brilliant, right? But those who can't find the words usually fill them with the easy ones. So what's your missing pieces, man? I can't do a pull-up. I remember I was there. I'm being vulnerable. I remember that. Couldn't do a pull-up. Used to see these little cats come up there, hit 20, 30, little waist cats. I'm like, man, I'm like 270, homie. Pull that up. But I had to humble myself. You dig what I'm saying? And struggle. How much are we willing to put ourselves out there to struggle in front of other people? Right? In order to learn what we need to learn to fill our missing pieces. Because we can learn anything, right? We can learn whatever we want. YouTube is phenomenal right now. Take advantage of it. What did you miss? Right? What's going to say, I don't know that much about business. I don't know that much about marketing. Man, it's on the internet. Trust me. You can get it. Blog, HubSpot. I can name so many resources now that I've become a teacher. I've learned to just get tons and tons of resources. So I wish people would hit me. I'm like, man, dude, I know I can at least point you in the right direction. Books, whatever. People been hitting me up though, man. Shout out to all those who've been hitting me up for book suggestions. This is how information gets spread, right? This is how really good ideas get spread. By events. We went to an event. Tanisha and I were both at the Will Smith joint. Ideas, right? About talking about love and unconditional love. These things have imprints on our lives, which have imprints on other people's lives. So you got to do things. What's missing? You got to find out what's missing. How do I fill that void? What can I put there? What can I do about it? Right? Because there's never too late. I was sitting there looking at myself. I said, man, by the time I get this PhD, I'm gonna be 50 years old. You're gonna be 50 anyways. So what? Right? So what? But look what you're gonna do for your kids. Look what you're gonna do for your homies. Right? Look what you're gonna do for your entire community. The people that are around you watching you. Because no matter what, it's not ego. I'm not saying people are following me, but everybody watches to see if you fall, see if you stumble, to see if you're human, see if you have flaws. But they're watching. See what's next. Some people waiting to see what's next. What's next, D? And I'm looking at other people. What's next? I mean, if you ain't gonna make a move, let me make one. But I gotta try, right? This is what life is about: maximizing your trying, your effort. Effort is everything. I tell my son that every day. What are we trying on today? All right, push-ups. Okay, you're not that good at push-ups. You're missing strength. You know how to do all your moves, but you're not strong. So what do you need to do? What's missing? Strength. How do you get strength? Right? Starts with the how. What's missing? Okay, I don't know how to do geometry that well. Where can I get some free geometry lessons? Khan Academy. Done deal. I'm with you every night. And I've learned about isosceles triangles and you name it. What is it? Arlene triangles, and I think it's Arlene or something like that, right? But I wouldn't even know nothing about it. Coordination, line segments, rays, angles, right? All that. You feel what I'm saying? You have to be humble enough to say what I don't know, right? Hubris will have you out here looking like a fool. When Google's available, that shouldn't even be an option, right? Real talk. Tanisha said, I feel you. Said, I worked the ER for the first time. It's intimidating. Google and YouTube was absolutely. And that's what you have to do if you want to be competitive. Now's the time. Now's the time. Before it was difficult, right? Because we didn't have what we have now. Information at our fingertips. You dig what I'm saying? It's right here. Like we can touch it whenever we want. We can snap our fingers and learn whatever. Get 4, 5, 6 entries on it. That's a thing of beauty, right? That makes us powerful. We're turning into superhumans. We really are. We don't need to remember stuff. A lot of stuff, we just boop, 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 talk it, say it. I don't have to look for nothing. I just ask Alexa or Google. Google, how do you do this? And they'll start talking. And that's where we're going. We're turning into superhumans. So now we know that information. What are we missing? What do we need to learn? What do we need to know to stay competitive? What do we need to know? Crypto. CJ talks about crypto all the time. He's been talking about crypto since we've been on here. You guys will start feeling it later. Odell Beckham just did it. Oh man, I should have. Man, put some dough over there. I don't care if it's 250. Play with it to learn it, right? You'll learn about cold storage and all kind of different things that come with that. That if you didn't go in there and say, what am I missing? Right? What don't I know? I don't know about crypto. Okay, well, boom. It looks like tonight I'll be spending all the time doing research on crypto so I can get my family tight. So if my little son is interested in crypto, I'm a resource for him. He ain't just gonna miss out when Timmy and Tommy talking about how they dad bought him a Bitcoin when they were little, right? And you had the opportunity to do it too. Come on now. We're not passing stuff up like that, right? There was another cat that I was looking at. He was doing research on cryptocurrency and how that can contribute to wealth. People are looking at this, man. It's not going anywhere. You might as well hop on board. That's the key. What don't I know about it? Is it easy to get involved in? Am I going to do? You're going to take risk anyway, man. One of the worst risks you can take is not moving at all. I'll tell you that, whether it's crypto, whether it's your dreams, I don't care what it is. Stagnation, not moving, sitting there. That's the fastest way to be out of here, right? You got to stay in motion, man. Hard to hit a moving target. Don't let no grass grow under your feet. I can go on and on with E40 cliches and whatnot. But you can't. You got to stay moving. The more important thing is, that's why I'm in college, right? I suggest people figure out some way to connect to a university just so you have access to that library. University, whatever the case may be. You dig what I'm saying? But you need to be close to that library so you can get access to the books or at least access to the books online. A lot of them books are being online as well. What am I missing? I don't know how to write well. You got to start writing. You got to get somebody to give you feedback. I just finished editing my paper last night. This thing, man, it's completely marked up and it's still not finished. It's still not finished, but I'm done editing. That's my second, I think my second edit. And I'll probably go through about 2 or 3 more, I'm assuming. But this was a learning lesson for me. What am I missing? I didn't know how to do research. How do you do research? You start, homie. You feel me? You start. You start with, how do I do this shit? How do I start? Okay, you come up with a topic. Okay, I got the topic. All right, now you need to figure out what you want to know about the topic, or what do you believe about the topic? Or, well, I believe this about the topic. Okay, well, you need some people to confirm your belief. How do you do that? You come up with survey questions. Survey questions, yeah, survey questions. And when you put them survey questions, you ask them specific things that lead to this. How do you know they lead to this? Because other researchers use those same questions. And when they use those same questions, they got this type of logic. Well, how do they do that? They have another formula that proves that these say this about that. And I'm really like dummying, and I'm not calling it dummy down, but really like making it, simplifying this. But that's how I understand. I need it dummied down for me to understand, because if I can't explain it in those terms, then it's too complicated for me. So once I figured that out, and I'm like, okay, this isn't that intimidating. No, it's not that intimidating. You just need to get started. You just need to get out your own head, because the majority of the time, that's the one that's trying to talk us out of it. Why? Because our brains are designed for protection and keep us out of danger. They're not designed to go wander and go explore the universe and see how amazing we are. That's not how our brains are designed. They're designed to keep us out of danger. So if we feel like something that we don't know, something that we're not familiar with, something that could potentially hurt us, embarrass us, we're trying to stay away from that. We don't want no parts of that smoke, right? We want comfort. Man, I just want to chill. I want to know my paycheck coming. That's why we sit at jobs. At least I got the paycheck coming, and I ain't mad at that, homie. But you got to go out there and explore the world, right? It's like I sitting there at a pond, man. At least we got the guppies. At least we got the guppies. Man, we sitting there at this pond, man. How long we gonna eat off these little ass fish? All right, pretty soon we gonna get older and older and hungrier and hungrier. Then we gonna have other kids. We all gonna be sitting there at this pond. Somebody gonna have to go out there in that ocean to see what's popping. And let that be you, homie. Period. But somebody got to go out there and see if it's some real fish out there, right? Take some balls. It does. And it's not easy at all. You're risking embarrassment, you're risking financial failure, you're risking social failure. Ain't nothing worse than failing in public, right? Wrong. Who cares? Most people ain't trying shit. That's why they don't fail. Like, man, how come dude don't never take nothing about how hard nothing is? Because he ain't trying nothing. He ain't putting the paint where it ain't, as they used to say, homie. Right? When you out there in traffic, like people say, I'm outside. When you outside, you see more stuff. You have potentially more danger, but you also out there potentially where the money's at. So you got to get outside, literally, and outside your mind. You got to be a little bit off in order to be an entrepreneur. In order to really go after your dreams, you got to be damn near crazy. Because the odds and everything else, statistics are going to tell you otherwise. Recidivism. I remember they told me that when I came home. What? 85% of you guys actually woo, 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 woo. Man, I don't know who you talking about. Period. That ain't me. I know I'm up out of here and I'm going to make an example out of it. I'm going to make the city proud. I'm going to make every city I touch proud. Period. Appreciate the info, CJ. Hey, man, tap in with him. He just put the info in the link. I mean, in the chat. So you want to know about crypto? This is a homie. This is love right here. So make sure you tap in with that. This is what we're doing. We're doing value exchange. This is something I talk about in my sales class and also my other retail and consumer behavior class. What's the value proposition? Right? What do we get valuable out of this? Get book suggestions, man. He tells me about software, all kind of stuff, man. He keeps me motivated, puts me up on game, shows me he's vulnerable, shows me where he's at. Because everybody want to act perfect all the time, like nothing's happening, like they're not being, man. I had a rough day yesterday. That's why I couldn't get on. But it's all right. had technical difficulties. And I already knew who that was pushing that line. That's the enemy. You already know who that is. He don't want us to have this conversation. Why would he want us to do that? He wouldn't want us to exchange game. He wouldn't want you to start moving towards your dreams to show that miracles still pop. It's one thing a lady told me in there. She said miracles happen to PhD students. I said miracles happen to everybody. Miracles are still happening every single day. We just have to pay attention to them. We take them for granted, man, because we used to all so much. No. Man, pay attention to the miracle of growth, whether it's you or some weeds outside. Doesn't matter. It's showing life, showing you can start from somewhere and no matter what the circumstances, still thrive. Just like plants, we evolve, right? We get better, but you got to fill in the missing pieces or your foundation isn't solid. There's holes in it. And you know where those holes are because you know what you didn't get. Whether it's love, go get some love. Where you get it from depends. You can get it from a dog. You can get it from some kids at juvenile hall. You can get it from family you ain't seen. You can get it from some older family you ain't seen. There's ways to go get love. You ain't got to buy it from this dude or this chick. There's love out there. There's free love, right? Animals at the zoo, you name it. Education. I got to sign up for these classes. No, you don't. You can log into Khan Academy and get popping right now. They used to have GMAT stuff. They used to have nursing stuff on there and all that. I'm mad I missed that boat. But that stuff was on there and available. If you're missing pieces with 7th through 10th grade, like myself, who has to take the GMAT. Well, I'm actually taking the GRE. Still 7th and 10th grade math, angles and you name it. X2s and exponents and all that stuff. Stuff that I missed. And I'm not ashamed to admit it. I was counting bread at that time. But I should have been counting this stuff because it comes back to bite you, right? We had good times during that time, but at the same time, I missed a lot of stuff. And now that I'm on a different path and I'm looking for a higher education path, I'm seeing why that stuff was critically important. So I'm making sure that, one, I'm going back through it. But not only this, by the time I'm going back through it, my son will be going back through it. So now I can help him. If I'm not just finished, I'll be soon to be finished and he'll be just now getting in it. So now I'm a resource for him to make him academically stronger. You see, we talk about legacy all the time in this space that we have, in this time that we have together. But I want to show you guys how everything that you do can impact your kids and that future legacy of your family. So we need to aim higher. We need to figure out what we need that we're missing and add that to it, right? And don't be afraid. Okay, well, I wasn't strong. I didn't take a second language. Okay, well, your kids are going to have to. So you might want to go take a Spanish class. If you can't take a Spanish class physically, take one online and practice. Go down to your carniceria, talk to them in Spanish, but you got to put it in motion, right? The universe will bless you for your effort, homie. Trust me. For real. So you got to put it in motion though. What am I missing? Okay, I don't feel healthy, man. I need to work out. Okay, well, start. Well, get your clothes ready and get some good music. Make sure your earpods are right. If you want the earpods, borrow somebody who ain't using them and get to stepping. Make the move. It takes one step to change your life. That's it. Just one step in the right direction will change everything, including the trajectory of your children, because they're watching you. My son watches everything we do. Oh, you reading Will Smith, huh, Dad? Oh, yeah, I read a little bit of it. He read like the first little chapter. Just being nosy, though. Nosy in the right way because he sees me doing it. Now, if he seen me tooting and doing all that stuff, then he probably be trying to be curious about that too. So we got to be careful with how we say things, our anger, cussing, right? How we spend our leisure time. He does a push-up challenge with me on the Laker guy. I ain't doing it now because I worked out earlier. You feel what I'm saying? But he does the push-up challenge with me. He also does martial arts because I do them sometimes. I'll just be randomly going in here. I'll start put my gloves on and start boxing. shadow boxing and kickboxing. And he does it too, right? So everything that you're doing, figure out what you're missing. You don't know how to fight, learn. Nobody taught me how. So I had to learn myself later in life. You know what I'm saying? So this is something now. So now you know what I mean? I'm a much different person, trust me. You know what I'm saying? So it's things you can learn anything. You can learn anything. And that's the beauty in it. Like, why aren't we so excited about that? Especially the cats that come from Gen X, like myself. Like, it was a struggle to learn things. We was struggling. We was at the library. It was a tough gig. But now we could just pull it up on our computer and we could just dig it. Okay, I want to learn this. I want to learn analytics. Pulled it up. I want to learn how to do this. Pulled it up. I want to learn how to. My wife was having a problem with a statistics problem. She's taking stats right now. We pulled it up on YouTube. They had 4 or 5 different examples. Z-score. We figured it out. It was like, whatever you want to learn, it is there. So let's get eager though, right? And we got to be around that type of information. So sometimes we got to step outside our comfort zone and get into circles that may not make us feel embraced, right? So I was there. I'm like, oh my God, everybody's PhD and doctor, and I was a such and such fellow, and and oh yeah, and I didn't need to, I didn't math. I was, my calculus class from high school. Like, calculus, like, man, I'm trying to remember the last math class I took in high school, right? So you got to be comfortable with admitting what you don't know. That's the only way to get more information. And a lot of times I put myself in one of those positions. I probably shouldn't have been there, but I learned enough to know what I need to know in order to compete. I learned that I needed to research all the professors, and I started doing that. I learned to learn about what research topics were being talked about and discussed, and I'm learning that now. I spent all night last night reading research papers about decisions. That's how I learned about Thanksgiving, and that it was actually created by somebody in a magazine. Like, she created the whole thing and convinced Abe Lincoln to put his stamp on approval because they thought it was going to stop the Civil War. A day of thanks. Everybody put the guns down. Sell some turkeys and cranberry, and all that stuff was just added to it. So the thing about it is, I'm turning into a researcher. I'm loving information. I've always been like this. Right now, I can actually figure out a way to get paid for it. So this is the beauty in it. But for us as individuals that have missing pieces, because some of these cats don't have missing pieces. Some of them been tutored. Some of them's dads, parents, had all this. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And other people had other circumstances. And that's okay. We're still going to succeed and excel. Right? God don't look at people like, man, I'm about to hook them up, man, and I'm about to make you. Nah, man, your journey is much sweeter, way sweeter. Right? It doesn't seem like it. It's kind of counterintuitive. Doesn't seem like it. Like, we're on that journey. I realized, man, I had to sit back, and I've said this before. You guys have heard me say this before. I have everything that I've asked for. Everything. I mean, literally everything. You know what I'm saying? I thought I wanted the house in Malibu and right on the beach until I started seeing them cliffs starting to disappear. And I'm like, man, but I can't hand that down to my kids. It probably ain't going to be there. So you feel you feel what I'm saying? So sometimes you got to adjust and pivot, right? And realize, like, dude, do you need the 20-bedroom house? Who's going to live there? Who's cleaning all that stuff, man? It's hard to keep up with a 3-bedroom house. So you got to check what you want first, right? I always say, man, try it on or rent it first. Whatever it is, a dude, I'll just say that, a dude, the house, you name it, rent it first. And then see if you like it. If you love it at that time, please proceed, right? Please, by all means, proceed. But other than that, nah, right? Try it out. Things you think you may want stuff and it turn around to be something different. I'm finding I'm falling in love with research. I really enjoy this stuff. I really enjoy interesting questions and really making me think, right? Really pushing me to the point to where I can't figure it out. Like, this doesn't have an answer. I know. That's perfect. That's probably why you need to research it more, because there's no answer to it, right? And just coming up with a different frame and way of thinking. They were testing us and doing all this stuff. And And it was an interesting experience for me, right? Really humbling. I mean, really humbling, right? Because you think you know what you know, right? Like Kendrick Lamar got that song Mama, right? I know this, I know that, right? Until I realized that I didn't know shit. And that's the enlightening and awakening, right? That's the part where you realize what you need to know, right? And how you where the missing pieces are, right? The enlightening. Oh, I need this, or I don't need this, right? Because a lot of times people get you fall in love with the dough, the dough, the dough, the dough. Then you'll hear people talk more money, more problem. You hear all this stuff, and you're like, man, they lying. They just saying that. I've heard it too many times. Fall in love with the journey. That's what I'm interested in, is the journey, not necessarily the I want to get rich and sit fat and go fishing all day. I fish all day anyway, whether I'm rich or not. Doesn't matter. So that's not going to get me to fish all day. You feel what I'm saying? I need to have purpose. I need to be doing something that has meaning. I need to be changing lives or changing the conversation of an industry. So I choose to change the conversation of an industry, as well as motivate people to realize that no matter what your circumstances are, I don't care what it is, where you come from, who did what to you, the universe and God still has a plan for you. Still has a plan for you. You're like, man, do I qualify? Man, no, you don't. They got a plan for you. So no matter how somebody rejects you and how somebody embraces you, whatever, they got a plan for you. So don't worry about it. They got a plan. The key is you connecting with that plan at the right time. So a lot of times you might be missing steps to your ladder or missing information, as I stated. I'll call them steps to your ladder. How are you going to get from this ladder, this ring to that ring, or whatever rung or whatever they call it, right? How are you going to get to and from if there's missing pieces? So you got to figure it out. What do I need to get done? How do I need to do it? Starts with a Google search. Once you do that Google search, it's going to take you on to other things. And I promise you, as you progress, you'll find the missing pieces. You'll fill them in, and your foundation will be solid. You don't have to worry about it anymore. And that's the key right there. So if it's fitness, because now I even step, like I said, I told you guys, I went and bought my basketball shoes. Now I go shoot baskets all the time. Great way to do cardio, low impact. I'm not playing against cats just yet, because I used to play ball a lot, but I don't play like that anymore. So I'm just out there shooting, and I got my earbuds on. I'm listening to whatever I need to listen to at that time. But I kill two birds with one stone. I get my mentals right, and then I get my physicals right. Right? Gym, all that stuff. And then you make sure you do the other things with your family, right? You got to have a 360. It can't be all about the hustle. All about the hustle will wear you out. I'm glad I got that over with young. I see cats, oh man, I gotta be at the grind. Man, I ain't gotta be nowhere. And it was designed like that. Because I've had to be somewhere since I was 11 years old. I was sick of that. Sick of being a slave to the pager, slave to the cell phone, and slave to a bunch of cats who don't care about you. Right. And I was a slave to that. Because if I had to make my money, I couldn't do anything else. And that's something that I'll regret and I'll never do again. And I've learned, design your life, figure out what things give you freedom. Go do those things. Because essentially that's what you're buying with your riches is freedom. I want a big job. I want to be in Miami. You want freedom. You want to be able to roam. You don't want to be told what to do. Right? Okay, well, figure that out. Money ain't always going to be that answer. Sometimes I saw professors chilling. They go on sabbaticals for a year. What you mean you ain't working for you? They paying you? Yeah. You serious? Word? Okay. Oh, you writing books so that you get paid off of that? Oh, word? Okay. Damn, so you can contribute and you got a job for life that can't fire you? Yeah. Man, and your kids go to school? Yeah. Man, hold on. Hold on. Word? And you get to learn all this stuff? Man, I'm in. And that's all it took for me. Figure out what you wanted. I can do that in the retirement. Golf and teach in the retirement. So that's what I'm looking forward to, right? Looking forward to chilling and relaxing. Once that day comes to work, but I can still contribute because my mentals won't go anywhere, right? And as we get older, it's more important for us to read and learn new things, right? What they call neuroplasticity. Our brain waves got to keep exercising, right? We start to forget things. My grandmother would always tell me, you need to keep moving. Can't stop moving. She would bowl. She'd be gone. My grandpa be sitting there watching Western. She gone in traffic. He was sitting there with a bowl of chili, right? But that's because she didn't want to stop moving, period. And we can't either. But in order for us not to make any missteps, we got to fill our missing pieces. And those missing pieces could be anything. So it's up to us to do some self-analyzation, right? A self-analysis, in other words, in order to look at ourselves, do an inventory. What are we missing? Am I not cordial? Do I not know what a lot of words mean? Right? Do I need to get a dictionary? Should I look more words up? Should I get a book that's pretty deep in vocabulary? I don't know. Right? So Maya Angelou, some Toni Morrison, they go pretty deep on the vocab. Maybe try some of that out. But I need to practice. Maybe write. If I'm in the pen, maybe write like these cats. Use some of those words. See if somebody catches me using one. Right? Because practice makes perfect, right? And repetition is how we get it instilled in us. So we have to keep repeating something over and over again in order for it to become a habit to us. What I'm reading right now is I'm still reading Will Smith. What I'm listening to right now are still Seeds of Greatness. I repeat a lot of these books, and the reason being is because they mean certain things. And I don't know where I get a lot of my information, but my subconscious picks it up. So even if it's playing in the background and I'm not consciously paying attention to it, my subconscious is picking it up. That's why it's so important to check your environment and check the things that you're listening or reading about. Because your subconscious mind, even if you're consciously not paying attention to them, that energy in your subconscious mind is soaking it up. So you got to be careful with that. Cats with suggestive, low-level thought, low goals, still doing the same old, trying to keep that alive because that's all they have. You got to watch that energy and make sure you're on the right trajectory. And if you have to be by your damn self. Don't just seek company just for company's sake, right? Don't just seek company because you can't be kicking it with this cat for 20 years. You can cut that ass off, man, and get that time to some books or get that time to Khan Academy, right? Because sitting there talking with this lame ain't going to get you far in life anyways. But you go to Khan Academy, those basics, those foundational things, not only going to help you in the long run, but they're going to help your family as well. That will conclude the weekly tap in for this week. I certainly appreciate y'all tapping in. In spite of my technical difficulties, this still went smooth. Appreciate y'all. Make sure you check out our sponsors, Med Tours LA, hairlivery.com, and Cheryl's Famous Fried Chicken for all your catering needs. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit the subscription, hit the notifications button, man. We appreciate that on YouTube. Like us on Facebook and leave us a review on iTunes. We'll be back next week. Hopefully you guys are breaking bread with your family. Come up with your goals between now and next year. Let's see what we can make crack. God bless. Tapping out.